Hey y'all, it's Mike with Class People TCG, bringing you our final deck profile for Blue Ulforce. This is in regards to our mini-series we had going on the channel, which was Red Gallant versus Blue Ulforce. And for this deck profile, or these deck profiles, we ended up having two rules. One was it had to be based off the evolution line, and then the other one was we had to have the cards here. I didn't want to order anything, especially if these weren't gonna see play. So yeah, let's go jump right into it and kind of show you what we ended off with. So for our babies, we had 2 Upamon and then 3 Demi-Vmon. Pretty solid lineup. If you wanted to add more Upamon, you could. But a lot of times we had 8 cards in hand, so it all worked out. Now going into our rookies, we had 4 Vmon from the starter deck, 2 Jamming Vmon, and if I had more, we actually probably would have run 4 of these, but I only have 2 on hand and didn't want to order more for this little mini series we had going on. 2 Gabumon, 2 of the 2-drop Electmon, and then 4 of the Searcher Dracomon. The Searcher Dracomon, it came in really handy. And then next we are going to go into our champions, which consisted of 3 Cordramon, 2 1-drop Grillamon, 1 Colomon blocker, 1 Kendo, 1 Lobomon, 1 of the starter deck Veedramon, and then 1 of the BT1 Veedramon. If I had to, I would choose him over the other Veedramon if you're trying to do something more tribal, just because I'm not a huge fan of his inheritable versus this one's a lot better in my opinion. And then next up are going to be our ultimates, which consist of 4 Veedramon from the starter deck. I think this is a really good staple monster for blue or secondary ultimate, depending on what you're running. Since it has jamming, and then if you have 8 or more cards, security attack +1 as it's inheritable, it's really solid. 2 Veedramon from the BT2, and then 2 Crespyldramon. These came in less effective, or came in less often than I would like, but you can swap out whichever you want. So if you wanted to run 4 Veedramon, 4 Crespyldramon, anything like that, you more than welcome to, but this ended up working out pretty well for her in our matchup. Next, we are going to go into our megas, which consisted of 4 Ulforceveedramon from the starter deck, 1 BT2 Ulforceveedramon, and 1 Slayerdramon. And again, we kind of went with what we had on hand. If I could, I probably would have done 3 of the of the starter deck, and then 3 of the BT2 Ulforce. However, I end up only having 1 of him, and then the Slayerdramon is honestly a really good secondary mega if you don't have an extra one, just because of its 1 Digivolving, you get security attack +1, and so I do really like that, and it did come in handy in a lot of matches that we were playing around with it. And then to finish off, we had 1 Omnimon as a extra swing to win game if you didn't have a hybrid in hand. And then for our options, we had 1 blue memory boost, 2 hammer spark, 2 rattlestar, and 2 Kakai's breath. We didn't have, or this was before EX1 was available. If we had EX1 cards, Icewall would definitely be here. However, we didn't, and this is what we end up going with. And then finally ending out our tamers is going to be 2 Davis and then 2 Sorojos. But all in all, it was a really fun series we had. This blue starter deck ended up doing really well, or this starter deck build-off did really well in the kind of final rounds of it, which you'll see coming up. So if you do end up going for it, I would highly recommend building up a blue starter deck. I really did like it, and it really did surprise me. And my final thoughts on this starter deck after it's all said and done. I actually was really impressed with the starter deck, as you've probably heard me say a bunch of times. After it's all built and set up, we really enjoyed it. I really liked how it played. It didn't feel clunky or anything along those lines. It felt like a really strong, really solid deck. So this one will be making a return on our channel, and then it will be played as a regular blue deck we have. I'm going to order in a few more cards for it to kind of round it out. But all in all, it was a really solid deck. And if you do end up picking it up or picking something up along it, it's a good guideline or a good start to kind of go with. Definitely throw in an Ice Wall. Find out your way of playing. If you like the Jam and VMons, throw them in. If you want to swap out some champions or want to run more blockers, you can. In this one, I believe we will probably end up doing a full deck build and then with a side deck of 10 cards. But I will jump into that deck profile once we actually get the cards in, so it'll be a little while before that's here and ready to go. And then also with BT7 coming out, we'll see if this still holds up in BT7. If not, then we might not keep it for too much longer, but all in all, it's a solid deck. So if you do want to try it, I would highly recommend picking it up and trying it out. But if you have any questions or comments, leave them on down below or send me a message and I'll happily get back to you. Thanks.